Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah. Happy Black Friday season. Today, I'm so excited to talk about my favorite shadows from Devinah. They're having a big Black Friday sale, which if everything is going as planned, then today is Tuesday. I hope today's Tuesday. So their sale is starting tomorrow, Wednesday, which is the 22nd. I love when brands start their Black Friday sale like a little bit early because there's nothing worse than like having to set alarms on my phone to remember to make purchases like on Thanksgiving or whatever. So I'm like, cool, Wednesday, I can deal with that. I'm gonna pop up their picture of their, like some of their sales they're having. They're having a lot of different price points. So I would recommend mapping out what you wanna buy, cross-examining it with the sale list because there's various discounts going on. And on top of that, they're launching a couple new products. I feel like Devinah always does Black Friday so well. I don't know if I already said that, but the first time that I shopped with Devinah was actually Black Friday 2019. So it's been 4 years. And I remember like my mind being blown that they would like offer things at such a good deal. On my wish list, we're gonna get into the favorites in a second, but my wish list is their new palette that they're coming out with. If you're not subscribed to DeAndra on YouTube, I recommend it. I'll post her little link down below, but she went live and like did swatches of the new palette and everything, and it looks so pretty. I'm so excited to add it to my collection, and for Black Friday, it's on sale for like 45 and change. I think it's like 40% off. And I was able to confirm with her that the palette is vegan. So that's really exciting. I hope to get that. My alarm will be set for Wednesday. I also want to say that I have received a couple collections in PR from the brand, so I do have positive feelings about them, but I've been a customer for many years before I ever had the opportunity to get PR. I've made several purchases since I've started getting some PR, and I think the shadows really do speak for themselves. I have 12 favorites I'm going to share with you and 2 honorable mentions that we'll talk about at the end also because I couldn't like just do 12. I'm going to start with the shadows that I have on my eyes so that I can tell you what's going on in my eyes because I'm pretty excited about it. Sol Laze. To know me is to know Sol Laze. This is from their Phantom Orbs collection, and they had 2 subcategories within it. This was one of the Velvet Multichromes, and this is my favorite one. This is my most used Devinah shadow. Velvet is a good word to sum it up because it's very like soft and smooth. It's a little bit thinner than other formulas of theirs, but the thing that I love about it so much is just how well it works for my inner corner. It's definitely pretty enough to wear all over the lid for like a subtle, glowy look, but something about it for the inner corner just really speaks to me. I love pinks. It goes with all my pink looks. If my look isn't pink, then a fun pink pop is always fun. I love inner corner shades that aren't like white iridescence, like something about, like I feel like, you know how with nail polishes they have jelly formulas? I feel like this is like the jelly formula equivalent for multichromes. It's not a sheer base, but it's not like a heavily pigmented base that would have like a stark outline when I use it on my inner corner. It just has enough presence to like really look bright and pink, but it doesn't give me any white cast. And although I feel like, you know, it translates as pink, I think you can see that it is a multichrome and it like easily shifts like orange and gold even in this direct light. All the things that make this shadow what it is just make it perfect for my use for my inner corner. My other favorite inner corner shadow from them is Fairy Fire. Again, doesn't have to be an inner corner, but that's just how I find myself constantly using it. The same thing is true with this, that's true with Sol Laze, that like it has that like jelly base. It's not stark white. In fact, it looks quite yellow in the pan, but it has this like intense, bright, neon green reflect. They are a similar formula, but I think that Fairy Fire has a little bit more presence. It looks like a little bit more wet. Also, I know other brands have similar shadows. I used to have Rich Bliss from Shine by SD. I know that there's also, was it Lyra from Terra Moons? I never had Lyra. I did have Rich Bliss. I just feel like I like this one the best. Like the velvety formula, they don't call this one a velvet, but it does have that similar velvety formula. It just goes on my inner corner so smoothly, so easy to work with, picks up really easily on a little pencil brush, and it's just so pretty. I forgot that I said I was gonna start with the shadows I have in my eyes. Fairy Fire's not on my eyes, but let's get back on that track. So the next one, Mystic Moon Pie. This is like this is like the epitome of interesting neutrals. And on top of that, I feel like so many interesting neutrals, like no shade to them because I love interesting neutrals, but a lot of them are more like warmer toned colors or like browny colors. This one does not read as brown, but it also like doesn't read as like just cool. Like it's such an interesting mix of colors. It's so sparkly. It has like really pretty silvery reflex and this like berry base. I guess there could be an argument that the base is like a berry brown, but because the tones are so opposite in like the forefront and the background, I just think it looks so interesting on the eye, so like captivating, so like intriguing, confusing. Like I want people to feel confused when they look at my eyeshadow, and this is a confusing shade in the best way possible. It's also like this perfect amount of depth where it doesn't feel like too dark for me. I tend to not want to wear shadows that are really dark because I feel like they close my eyes off. But also if you wanted it to be in a dark look, it would pair really well with like purpley deep mattes or like a black, gray, dark browns, and you could really wear it both ways. Also, I'm seeing on the sales sheet that they're $8 shadows, which like a lot of my favorite shadows are $8 shadows. They're 40% off. So that means Mystic Moon Pie is going to be $4.80. That's awesome. The next shadow is the one that's newest to me of all the shadows we're talking about today, but I feel like it's such like a hidden gem. So Devinah has this line of $6 shimmers. And I've had a couple of them and I do like them. They're not the same like PC super sparkly types of shadows that you get for like their $8 price point and their $18 price point, but they have some like really solid building block metallics. And I've also mentioned recently that I've been like a little bit more open to shadows that aren't like the most high impact. I still love my high impact, but like I'm also down for something that's just like elegant and beautiful and like flattering and easy to wear. So this shadow here is called Sybil. And I was drawn to this when I was just like browsing their website when I made my last order from them at like the end of August. And I just thought the tone of this was so pretty. It's like a brown berry, and this has such like a soft formula. It's not one of those like, you know, those like chunky metallics that you just like pick up and it feels like you're playing with like sand mixed into Play-Doh. Like this is like a smooth, soft formula, very easy to work with. And I just think the color of it is so pretty. I also love it for like layering. Like I feel like it kind of works like a satin. It's definitely more impact than a satin is. But this all over my eye with like a sheer iridescent shadow over it, it has been like a go-to for me for the past couple months. And I'm so excited to have it in my collection. Also, I see the regular shimmers are 50% off. So this is a $3 shadow. This is Luxie price. And I just feel like it's such like a it's such a good shadow. I'm happy that I had like browsed around their website and took a chance on it, and I love it. Next up, the final shadow that I have on my eyes is one of my like tippy top Devinah favorites. Like these are all favorites, but this is like one of the first going in my cart if I were to lose my Devinah collection. This is Nocturne Ash. This was also from their Phantom Orbs collection, and this color is just so perfect. I love shades that teeter the line between pink and purple, and this does exactly that while also having such an insane shift. Let me swatch it out, but I'm not sure if it will come up in the direct light, but like, if you know, you know. Oh yeah, you see some of that. You see some of that like yellowy green, but also it shifts blue. It's so unexpected, but wearing it just feels like perfect. Like it's like everything I could ask for in a shadow. This is a little bit of a smoother formula compared to some of their more recent multi-chromes, but it's not so thin in that like rubbing a wet rock type of way. It's just like really easy to use, really easy to manipulate, and has enough impact without having like a flaky formula to it. So pretty. So let me show you how I have those on my eyes. So I started with Sybil, and I just did like a little bit of like a wing going out. I used a brush and I also packed it on with my finger. And then I packed on Mystic Moon Pie on most of the lid, and I did go over a lot of Sybil with that also. I took Nocturne Ash on a little pencil brush, and I just used that like into my crease. Of course, you're not going to see the full multi-chrome effect if it's just concentrated in a small area, but I'm just like appreciating it as a really pretty shimmery color, and I really love it there. And then that flows into Sol Laze on my inner corner. And then my lower lash line, I just used a little bit more Sybil and some Nocturne Ash, and I absolutely love how this look came out. See? See? Okay, next up is my third and final favorite of the Phantom Orbs collection. This is Midnight Nova. I will say I do love the entire collection, and I know it's on sale for $66, which makes it each shade $11. So if you are eyeing the entire collection, I do recommend it. Like, I really love that collection, but I limited myself to 3. But yeah, as I was saying, Midnight Nova. This shadow has the same formula as Nocturne Ash. It's not like super flaky, but it comes up really sparkly just the same. This one's even more shifty, and I know it's not going to show its full potential right now, but it has such an intense, bright green shift to it. I know I said this in a video a while back, but I was hanging out in a park with my friend who does not wear makeup, and I was wearing this, and like I blinked and she's like, "What's on your eyes?" And I always feel like that's a compliment when someone who doesn't pay attention to makeup like can't help but pay attention to your makeup. This is definitely one of my go-tos when I want something like really shifty, really attention grabbing. But again, the formula of it is like so easy to wear, so comfortable, so easy to manipulate. I never use glitter glues. I could see the benefit when it comes to really flaky formulas. And I know some people use them like no matter what the formula is or whatever, but a formula like this like does not make me feel sorry at all that I'm not a glitter glue person. Goes on so easily with my finger, but also what I just learned from using Nocturne Ash on the pencil brush, it went on really well with the pencil brush too. Such a pretty shade. Since we just talked about 2 multi-chromes, let's switch gears back over to some of their lower cost shadows. The next 2 are both from their Sea of Shadows collection, which came out in April. And these shadows are all 40% off of the $8 price tag, so they're also $4.80. The first of those 2 shadows is Frozen Waves. This one is so pretty. I keep on saying that, but sometimes pretty is just the right word for it. It has a little bit more texture when I pick it up with my finger than the previous 2 do, but it still goes on so smoothly. Definitely not like a flaky shadow or anything like that. This one has like a purpley berry base with cool teal sparkles. I remember when Cleona's palette came out earlier this year, the like Shipwreck palette, is that what it was called? People were like going bananas over that one shade Cephalopod, I believe. And this shadow is like such a good dupe for it. And this one is only $4.80 and you don't have to buy an entire palette. This shadow is awesome too because although it's considered a duochrome, it's like at their duochrome price point, I swear it has this super intense like hot pink. I don't know if it comes up on camera at all, but when I look at it right now to the side, I see like bright hot pink shimmer. And when you're wearing this on your eyes and you're like moving around into different lights, you're gonna see that also. I think you can see a theme of the type of shadows I like. I was also really tempted to wear this today because it like matches my shirt, the like purpleness and the greenness, but I really wanted to like play with a bunch of shades on my eyes. But yeah, I love this shadow. I feel like you're getting so much bang for your buck. It's like more than a duochrome in my book. So pretty. And then the other one is Frothy Surf. I am not a big orange person. I feel like all of the oranges that I would ever need could be like condensed into like 3 shadows maybe. This is one of them. This is, I don't want to keep saying pretty. This is so lovely. It's a similar deal to Frozen Waves. It has a colorful base, in this case like a burnt-ish orange, and then the sparkles on top are a little bit more of like a yellowy greeny, but it also has an intense pink sparkle to it when I'm looking at it from the side. Such a beautiful way to wear color on your eyes, and I love shades that combine cool tones and warm tones all into one, and this does it. Like a warm base with a cool sparkle. Love it. Sign me up. Another warm and cool shade, and this is like one of their OGs. They've had this shadow for so long. I bought this probably in 2019 or 2020. This one is Asteria, and I think you can see in the pan how quickly it shifts from like green to red. Also one of their $8 shadows. Blows my mind. This is so awesome. Like, I feel like this shadow, you get the punch that black-based multichromes have. Like, you know, like with black-based multichromes, because they're against something so harsh, which is black, you're gonna see the color jump more. This barely has a base. Like, I think you can see in some angles, and especially if I were to, like, you know, shear it out, it really doesn't have much of a base to it. And I think that's what makes this like so not intimidating, so easy to wear. You could pop it on your lid with just like a transition color, and it's so shifty, so kind of like grungy without being too deep. But it would also pair really well with green mattes, with red mattes, with brown mattes. And you could build it up to be that kind of like intense, grungy look with a base if you put a base down under it. I also love with Devinah. DeAndra was saying on a live recently how like she never discontinues a shade unless she can't get the pigments anymore. And I love that also, that like I've been enjoying this for years and I'm still able to like use it and recommend it. I feel like a lot of brands now are coming out with lines of like super intense metallic shadows. And I feel like Devinah did it first. They had their Moonscapes line. I believe it was 2020 Black Friday. Yeah, I think it was 2020 Black Friday. And I had missed out on that sale. And then I ended up buying the entire collection in February of 2021. I do feel in hindsight like you don't need the entire collection. Like maybe if that's like your jam and that's the kind of thing you wear every day, I'm not here to tell you what to do. But I feel like for me, I probably didn't need all of them, but my standout is Earthshine. Because while I feel like the neutrals kind of blend into each other a little bit, this one is just like, I don't know any other shades like this. It's like a coin. It's like a quarter if quarters were blue. And it has this like super foily look, but like it doesn't feel like shardy on my finger. You know what I mean? There was a little bit of a fallout that just came up when I did that swatch, which is to be expected with shadows that are so like intense and foily. But yeah, what I was saying is like it doesn't feel sharp. I love this color though. I especially love pairing it with warmer tone mattes. As I said, warm and cool. Love it. Such a unique shadow, and I believe it's going to be 40% off also, which would also make it $4.80. Okay, number 11, I had to throw another interesting neutral in here. This one is Sweetie Sunbeam, and whenever I encounter this in my palettes, I'm always like, wow. I don't even know what it is about it. Let's see if we can break that down. It's so sparkly. I guess that's number one. Number one is it's so intensely sparkly, and I just feel like the contrast between the base and the shimmer is just so nice. It's definitely an easier shadow to wear. Like I'd say if you're just getting into indie shadows, I would recommend starting with like some interesting neutrals. Like your friend's not gonna interrupt you during a conversation in the park to ask what this is, but like they might wait till you finish your sentence and then ask you what it is. It has like a gold tone shimmer and like a really warm brown base and just so many sparkles. So many sparkles. And then the final shadow of the Core 12 is going to be Palaemon. I'm a big fan of their Mystic Cove collection, but this is the standout to me. This is my favorite one. This is like one of my go-tos. This shadow is so shifty, and I feel like this is a shade that looks different on different people, but on me, this blue base shows up so well, and I just love the color of the base. If you've watched my channel, you might know I love the shade Cetacean from Menagerie. It's like this really, like, just a perfect shade of like sky blue. And I feel like this is that shade. Like that Menagerie color is like that color in a matte, you know? So this is like my favorite color, and on top of that it has like yellow, red, and green sparkles to it. It's not going to show on camera, but on my eyes, it has such an intense green flip to it. And because it has so many different sparkles, I love pairing it with different iridescent inner corners. Sometimes I'll do yellow, sometimes I'll do red, sometimes I'll do blue. Sometimes also I will pair it with that menagerie shadow, just like on the outer edge of it, and I'll just do Palaemon, like smothering the inner half. Okay, and finally on to our 2 honorable mentions. This second to last shade, first of the 2 honorable mentions, is not a shadow I reach for every day, but I go on like a lot of little trips, and I feel like I've gotten pretty good at like quickly packing a little 9-pan or 12-pan to bring with me. I feel like there's not a trip where I don't bring this one. This is Pancake Bubbles. This is again one of their $8 shadows, and I love the versatility of this one. So usually on like an everyday basis, for my inner corner, I'll choose an iridescent shadow that ties in with like the colors of my look, and that's on my inner corner. But when I'm traveling, I'm not gonna like bring every iridescent under the sun with me. So this is like my go-to inner corner shade for when I don't know if I'll have the right sparkly shadow for it. On top of that, it would also work really well in a look if you just wanted to like add a little bit of extra shimmer. You know, there's a lot of times that call for just like a good old champagne, and I love that this works so well for both. Like, it's sparkly enough to be on my lid, but it's also smooth enough to be on my inner corner, and I just find so much use of it, especially when I'm using like a really curated selection of my eyeshadows. And then the final shadow is the shimmer that got me into Devinah shimmers. My first order I ever placed from them, which like I said was Black Friday of 2019, it was mostly mattes. They have some really cool matte colors, and I feel like at that time I wasn't like fully an indie shadow girl yet. Like I didn't know all the joys of indie shadows yet. So I put like a bunch of interesting mattes in my cart. And by the way, their mattes are on a good sale. I think they're 40 or 50% off also, but I digress. The one shimmer that I put in my cart was Celesta. And when I got this, my mind was blown. I was like, I need more of their shimmers. And this is still such a wonderful green. I'm not the biggest green shadow wearer, but I love my greens hard. This green is just like so pretty, and the brown base makes it like a little bit less colorful, a little easier to wear, but it's so dynamic on top of that. I love like the tone, like it has like this like chartreusey green, but also a more olivey green to it. I would say if you're like a green lover and you don't have anything like this shadow is like so solid. It's the reason why all of these are part of my life. And there you have it. There's my 12 plus 2 Devinah favorites. I should mention also, I do have a non-affiliated code with them. It's just Hannah, but I don't think it's combinable with the Black Friday sale. So if you find yourself watching this after Black Friday, hello, how's the future? It would be awesome if you used my code. Let me know if you've tried Devinah, like what your favorites are, if I had any like horrendous oversights. It's not impossible. I just kind of like looked through my collection today and I was like, yeah. But for all I know, I'm going to finish filming and then be like, oh my god, and then you guys are going to be like, oh my god. So let me know if I forgot something. But either way, if you enjoyed this, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And that's everything for today. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you have a awesome Black Friday if you're choosing to participate. And that's it. Thanks for being here. Bye.